From J. Doyle Field in East Brunswick, I'm Phil Peterson, welcoming you to today's boys soccer clash between the Hawks of J.P. Stevens and the East Brunswick Bears. Both GMC Red Division rivals come into the match off of difficult games earlier this week. J.P. Stevens bounced back late in their game with Edison to gain a 1-1 tie. Their 1-4-2 mark under head coach Bill McMullen include tough one-goal losses to both St. Joe's and East Brunswick earlier this season. The Bears, with a 7-2 record, will attempt to regroup after a 2-0 defeat to powerful Monroe. East Brunswick holds a career 35-win and 4-loss advantage over the Hawks, but Bear head coach Dan Haston takes nothing for granted. Out of more than 15 games between Red Division opponents this season, only 3 have been decided by more than 1 goal. I'll be back shortly with the opening lineups and the start of today's action.
Welcome back to J. Doyle Field. Hi, I'm Scott White alongside Phil Peterson. As you see, East Brunswick has already taken the field, and this will give us about a minute to run down the starting lineups. First, let's go with East Brunswick.
Okay, in goal for East Brunswick, Ben Kartzman. Number 6, Joe Merkel. Number 7, Pasha Firoz. Number 8, Michael Poller. Number 15, Evan Schottlander. Number 16, Robert Longo. Number 17, Don Gariello. Number 19, Louis Kimmel. Number 20, Mark DeGrandis. Number 27, David Vangerud. And number 33, Jonathan Rotter.
And now for J.P. Stevens.
For J.P. Stevens, in goal, Matt Gill. Stopper, number 3, Mark Shanker. Wing, Tim DeSantis. Outside halfback, Scott Poltrock. Outside halfback, Brian Block. Wing, Steve Fulop. Center halfback, Abhishek Sinj. Outside back, Devin Grossman. Sweeper, Joe Gallo. Outside back, Dan Jameson. And center fullback, Anthony Serro.
Okay, and as you see, play has already begun. J.P. Stevens is moving from right to left on your screen. They're in their away green jerseys with white shorts. East Brunswick is moving from left to right, and they're wearing their home white jerseys with the gray lettering and the white shorts. J.P. Stevens has control of the ball on the far side. Ball's quickly poked out of bounds, so East Brunswick will switch it up and bring it back up the other way. Ball will be quickly thrown into Kartzman, the keeper, and he'll look for a quick outlet. He was going to switch fields. He opts not to, and he's going to punt it straight up the middle. It'll bounce just over midfield, taken down by Michael Poller. Poller's going to run far side, and it'll be poked out of bounds by J.P. Stevens. That time, Mark Shanker coming onto it. East Brunswick's not going to waste time. Quickly put the ball in, try to catch J.P. off guard. J.P. Stevens will send it out far side. That poked out of bounds by Joe Gallo, the sweeper. So early on in the game, and each team is going to start to feel out the other team. As you mentioned in the pregame, these teams have faced off once before earlier in the season, and East Brunswick got the better half of J.P. Stevens 2-1. Phil, how will that play into today's game?
Well, so far, as I mentioned at the opening, all these Red Division opponents.
Good opportunity, sorry to cut you off. A good opportunity for East Brunswick. The goalkeeper for J.P. Stevens, it's Matt Gill. He's tested very early on. We're under 2 minutes in, and Matt Gill comes up with the save.
Again, out of all the matches between Red Division opponents this year, only 3 have been decided by more than 1 goal. So in spite of J.P. Stevens' 1-4-2 record, they've been very competitive in their matches.
So we'll see how it works out today as East Brunswick has a throw-in on the far side. Over to take it, Mark DeGrandis. He'll pick it up about 35 yards out, send it into the box quickly off the head of Vangerud. Running onto it with a quick shot. That time was Dan Guriello. Guriello with the left-footed shot's going to go a little bit wide, so it'll be a goal kick for J.P. Stevens. 37:40 remaining in this first half. We're scoreless.
Just a slight breeze out there today, Scott, so I don't think weather's going to really come into much of a play. A little chilly, but it is October.
J.P. Stevens will start it up. A long goal kick down the far side touchline, and an infraction is going to be called against J.P. Stevens, a push-off. So East Brunswick will have the restart on the far side. And East Brunswick's going to look to put something together now. Ready, so long service into the box, looking for the head of Vangerud with a little bit of height, but unfortunately he couldn't get to it. Quickly, East Brunswick will try turning it back in. Guriello tries to turn on it, sends it to the middle off the chest of an East Brunswick player, that being Mark DeGrandis. Tried to get the quick shot, but again, couldn't get a shot on goal, so Gill has only come up with one save this afternoon. East Brunswick with 2 wide shots, but East Brunswick is certainly keeping the pressure on. We're just under 3 minutes into play, and East Brunswick with 3 shots already. We'll see how that plays in. As we mentioned, last game was only a 2-1 win for East Brunswick, but so far early on in this game, it's been all East Brunswick, especially on the offensive half of the field. DeGrandis will quickly run onto it, sends this near side for Gurriello. He couldn't get to it. It's sent out by J.P. Stevens. East Brunswick will run it one more time. Some numbers on the near side, but East Brunswick can't keep it inbounds. It goes off of J.P. Stevens' player. Quickly sent into play by Gurriello. Quick one touch by Pollard. He'll send it to the middle, and one more shot going across the far side. East Brunswick's really pounding away early on in this game.
They probably have put a little more pressure on themselves. After talking to Coach Dan Haston earlier, they had a tough game against Monroe on Monday evening, a game he felt the kids might have come out a little flat and might have taken Monroe a little bit for granted, but Monroe with an 8-0 record is not to be taken for granted, and I think after that loss, the kids are right back out to prove themselves.
So a bit of rallying and momentum maybe for East Brunswick early on in this game, bouncing off of that loss, as you mentioned. We'll see how that plays into today's game, as J.P. Stevens was ready to mount their first offensive attack, but it's quickly cleared out of bounds by Merkel on the near side. So it'll be a J.P. Stevens throw-in just short of the midfield line. J.P. Stevens will drop the ball in quickly and try running it. 2 East Brunswick defenders step up, stolen away by Evan Schottlander. He's going to try switching field, sending it to the middle of the field. Now East Brunswick's going to run it far side, sending it all the way across Mark DeGrandis into the corner. Now East Brunswick with some numbers, no offsides call, looking for a quick touch to the middle, finds the keeper off, but good opportunity, not bouncing it in the back of the net. Dave Vangerard was looking at the back of an empty net. He couldn't turn the ball in, so East Brunswick will have one more try, send it into the box and clear it out. Great opportunity for East Brunswick, can't miss them that early on.
Yeah. J.P. Stevens looks like they're trying to pull an offside trap, and they were just a second short that time, and all 3 East Brunswick players got through, but they weren't able to capitalize on it.
So a missed opportunity for East Brunswick, but they'll keep pounding away and keep the ball in the offensive half. A long ball sent down into the corner by Merkel and out of bounds over the end line. It'll be a goal kick, another one for J.P. Stevens. They're having a real hard time bringing the ball up over midfield, and if you want to stay in this game with East Brunswick, they're going to have to get the ball over midfield.
Oh, as we've seen in earlier games we've done this year, one of the critical aspects is trying to convert on the opportunities you do have in front of you. And as we've seen so far, missed opportunities can prove costly in the long run. So they'd be well off trying to capitalize at this point early in the game.
Well, we see the same situation forming again. J.P. Stevens with the goal kick, East Brunswick picking it up, and now they're going to run it on the near side. Quick one touch off the foot of Lewis Kimmel, but East Brunswick can't control it. It bounces out of bounds off of Gurriello. It'll be a throw-in for J.P. Stevens on the near side, about 30 yards off of the end line. Stevens will put the ball in one more time to an East Brunswick player. J.P. Stevens can't really string anything together. East Brunswick will try a give-and-go play, broken up that time by Matt Paltrock. Gurriello saves it on the near side as it's about to roll over the touchline. He's going to try to beat 2 J.P. Stevens players. Goes to the middle of the field. Again, Vanguard can't turn on it. Ball sent out, but Gurriello will check back and try to keep it in the offensive half. He's beat by 2 J.P. Stevens players. He can't get a foot on it. J.P. Stevens' Tim DeSantis is going to send it to the middle of the field. No J.P. Stevens player there. So East Brunswick will try sending it back on attack one more time. Looking for the long ball, finds Gurriello goal side. Can he get to it? No, a little bit too much punch, but as you had predicted or said just a moment ago, J.P. Stevens trying to play the trap, not fast enough to keep up with the East Brunswick attackers.
Well, their fullbacks are lining up straight across the field. If East Brunswick could convert a quick 1-2 passing combination, they'd be putting the goalkeeper at their mercy most of the day. They've got to try to get away from the long ball through and just try to convert some quick passes to sucker the Stevens defense out after them and send somebody in clear.
J.P. Stevens will put the ball into play. This time Brian Block will have it on the far side, see if he could send it up, and unfortunately he can't, but it's poked out of bounds by East Brunswick. So J.P. Stevens will have another opportunity, a quick throw-in off the head of an East Brunswick player and out of bounds at the midfield line. So it'll be another J.P. Stevens throw-in. We're at 32-34 remaining in this first half. East Brunswick and J.P. Stevens are scoreless. J.P. Stevens throw-in, far side, just over the midfield line. Ball's put into play. J.P. Stevens tries to turn on it. It's poked out of bounds and quickly picked back up by J.P. Stevens. So they're going to walk the ball down the far side with a series of throw-ins. This will be their fourth one coming on. Going over to take it is Steve Fulop, the wing. He's going to leave it off for another Stevens player. Over to take it for Stevens will be Mark Shanker. Shanker will see if he can get the ball toward the center of the box. 4 J.P. Stevens players now in the 18-yard box. Quickly headed out by East Brunswick. Now East Brunswick's going to try to counterattack as all the J.P. Stevens players are up. East Brunswick could mount some numbers if they can get a ball through. Vanguard will send it far side, and we're going to have an offside. So that time the trap was effective, catching East Brunswick off guard. So it'll be an offsides and a restart for J.P. Stevens. Earlier this year, we brought you the East Brunswick-St. Joe's game, and there was a situation where we saw East Brunswick really getting frustrated by the trap. St. Joe's was effectively able to work the trap and catch East Brunswick off a number of times. J.P. Stevens hasn't been as successful so far this afternoon, but we'll see what happens as the game progresses. East Brunswick has control of the ball in the middle of the field. Merkel will run over to it. Coming up to help him that time was Pasha Faraz. No one could control the ball, sent into Kartzman, and he'll come up with his second save of the afternoon. He's going to try switching fields quickly. A long pass out to the near side, not controlled by East Brunswick. Losing it that time was Evan Schottlander. Cleared out by Merkel off the J.P. Stevens turnaround, now in the middle of the field. East Brunswick will send it near side for Gurriello. See if he could send a through ball. Running onto it for East Brunswick, Rob Longo, one man to beat, gets it loose, and it's going to be called a handball. We'll see what happens. Phil Peterson says it's a handball.
Yep, the goalkeeper came out of his box and in a bit of indecisiveness. He wasn't sure whether he was going to pick it up or just boot it out. And in his defense, he ended up slipping down and inadvertently hit the ball with his hand just outside the box. If it was in the box, it would have been a penalty kick. But
so now it's an East Brunswick restart, and I don't want to interrupt the situation, but quickly put into play one time off this, now following it up Gurriello, see if he can get a foot on it. Cleared out by J.P. Stevens on this clear out. Let me ask you, should that have been called advantage play on? East Brunswick ended up getting the goal off of it, and usually you see referees not making calls like that.
Yeah, he should have let it go. East Brunswick was clearly in control. The ball inadvertently hit off his hand, and should have been just a continuation play and a goal scored.
So East Brunswick losing the goal on that one. East Brunswick putting the first goal in, but it's called back on a handball by the goalkeeper, that being Matt Gill for J.P. Stevens, coming off of the 18-yard line. East Brunswick not converting on the restart situation. Now East Brunswick has the ball in the middle of the field. Evan Schottlander in control of it. Schottlander looking to send a through ball. Nothing happening there. J.P. Stevens will clear it out. A substitution that time for East Brunswick. Scott Rosenthal checked in as Pasha Fairaz came to the bench. The first substitution of the afternoon, as we're just under 30 minutes remaining in this first half. East Brunswick and J.P. Stevens tied 0-0. Merkel has the restart situation on the far side touchline. He'll send the ball up over midfield. East Brunswick stops it. Going to continue on that far side touchline. A second J.P. Stevens player checking up, Brian Block. He'll try clearing the ball out. East Brunswick continuing to play with two J.P. Stevens defenders there. J.P. Stevens getting the better half of it, now looking for a through ball. Kartzman's going to come over the 18-yard line. Luckily, he didn't have to come up with that one as it was cleared out by the East Brunswick player. It'll be a throw-in for J.P. Stevens on the far side.
J.P. Stevens is going to have a difficult time converting because their halfbacks are trailing the play badly upfield as they move into the East Brunswick end. The halfbacks are going gradually from 10 to 15 and even 20 yards behind the play, leaving big gaps in the middle of the field.
See how that pans out. J.P. Stevens, a long ball into the middle, a shot into the corner off the head of a J.P. Stevens player. Excellent throw-in and a good opportunity. We saw, as we allude back to that St. Joe's game one more time, St. Joe's had a player that could take a throw-in that was equivalent to a corner kick, and that was something that we just saw there, a weapon in the J.P. Stevens arsenal. We'll see how that, if that works for them later on in the game. That time a good opportunity. Merkel will clear the ball out. Now East Brunswick will try to run it on the far side. So J.P. Stevens with their first real offensive attack mounted this afternoon, as they've kept the ball in the offensive half for about 2 minutes now, but it's going to be a penalty against J.P. Stevens. So East Brunswick will have the restart on the far side just off of the touchline.
Again, you can see the J.P. Stevens halfbacks playing more defense-oriented than as opposed to getting up into the play. It's going to make it awful tough for them to put the ball in the net without any numbers back there.
Merkel with the restart. No one there for East Brunswick. Sent to the middle of the field. Rosenthal there. See if he can take the bounce. Unable to do so. Two J.P. Stevens players will come on to it. Abhishek Singh will clear it out, but East Brunswick mounts a counterattack very quickly. Looking to send it into the middle of the box. East Brunswick will run it, and J.P. Stevens will clear it quickly now. Some shuffle in the corner. J.P. Stevens is going to clear it out, not looking up to find a player. East Brunswick will mount the counterattack one more time. A push-off against East Brunswick. Nope, the referee signaled first against East Brunswick, now against J.P. Stevens, so East Brunswick will have the restart about 35 yards out, a little bit off-center to the far side. A second restart situation for East Brunswick right here in the offensive half of the field. We'll see if they can convert this one. 27 minutes remaining in the first half. It's going to be a chip shot to the middle. Tries to get an East Brunswick player running onto it, but chip right into the hands of Matt Gill. So Matt Gill will wait for the box to clear out. He'll take his time and restart it one more time. He's in no hurry because every time he seems to punt it out, it's quickly turned around, and East Brunswick's on the attack as we see one more time. You had mentioned earlier that J.P. Stevens is having a hard time getting their midfielders up into the play. Their midfielders haven't been winning the 50-50 balls, and East Brunswick has clearly dominated in the middle third of the field this afternoon. That's put a lot of pressure on the J.P. Stevens defense.
Oh, with all the chances East Brunswick's had, I think one, oh, here we go.
Vanguard leaves off and tries to run onto it on a give-and-go situation, unable to convert it. It's going to be a throw-in on the far side for East Brunswick.
Yeah, with the height advantage that Vanguard has over any of the J.P. Stevens players, it'd be the Bears' wings would be well advised. Maybe chip some balls up inside the box and see if he can't get ahead on him.
Vanguard is waiting right in the middle for that chip shot that you called for. We'll see what happens. It's going to be a throw-in one more time. Same spot. East Brunswick turns on it. The keeper, Gill, comes off his line, has some problems. He bobbles it one more time, and it appears as if it's probably going to be a corner kick. And yes, in fact, it is. East Brunswick will have the corner kick as Gill had a hard time controlling it. 4 East Brunswick players in the box right now. Vanguard, the tall man, we'll see if he runs onto it. Long chip into the middle. Gill comes off his line and pulls it down off the head of Vanguard. So there is the situation that you just called for, looking for a chip shot to the middle for Vanguard. Gill comes off his line, pulls it down, and one more time he's going to wait for the box to clear out. Bit of a shanked punt, went about 20 yards and came over the near side. Stepping up quickly is Gurriello, and he's looking to go to the back of the net with that one. He's going to take a shot from about 20 yards out. Bobbled. Vanguard with the follow-up, hits the post, and it'll roll over to the end line. It'll be a goal kick. Good opportunity for East Brunswick.
Yeah, Vanguard's had some tough opportunities so far. How this is going to happen? He's only a sophomore, so he's got a lot of time ahead of him, but all he's got to do is just maintain his composure, and they'll come.
Good anticipation by Dan Gurriello on the near side here, winning the ball and setting that ball up for Vanguard, but he was unable to convert it. It's a push-off. It's going to be called against J.P. Stevens, so East Brunswick will have the restart one more time. They're not going to waste any time quickly putting the ball down and trying to catch J.P. Stevens off guard. Rosenthal looks to the center. No one there. Vanguard a little late reacting to it. It's cleared out. Merkel's going to run onto it on the near side. He'll take control from the sweeper position. Short touch pass to the middle of the field. Coming near side touchline for Lewis Kimmel. Kimmel with a chip shot to Vanguard. Finds Gurriello on the near side. Has 2 players to contend with. Ball's cleared out. We're going to get a jumping in call against East Brunswick. So J.P. Stevens will now restart on the near side. 24-20 remaining in this first half. East Brunswick and J.P. Stevens scoreless. We're at J. Doyle Field. I'm Scott White alongside Phil Peterson, and J.P. Stevens will put the ball into play off the head of an East Brunswick player. We're going to get one more jumping in, but this time it's going to be against J.P. Stevens. So East Brunswick will have the restart going the other direction. Merkel will put the ball into play, looks near side, over the head of Vanguard, running on to 2 East Brunswick players. No one able to turn and get a shot off as J.P. Stevens will run it back the other way, see if they can mount a counterattack off of this one. Looking to switch fields, going far side for Tim DeSantis. DeSantis will switch it back to the near side. J.P. Stevens, Anthony Cerro puts the ball down to the ground off of the high kick. No one around, so it's no dangerous play. J.P. Stevens will switch it far side for Brian Block, see if they can bring it up over midfield, and they do, but the ball's poked out of bounds by an East Brunswick player. It'll be J.P. Stevens throwing on the far side. J.P. Stevens quickly in to play. Mark Shanker has control of the ball. He's looking to beat 2 East Brunswick players. Looks for a through ball. Waiting for it for East Brunswick is Merkel. He'll clear it out. J.P. Stevens with an opportunity now. Kurtzman comes off his line and pulls it down. That's his third save of the afternoon, as we're just about 20 minutes in, and Kurtzman hasn't been tested much this afternoon.
Well, you could see then there were 4 J.P. Stevens players against 7 East Brunswick players back there. It's going to be awful hard for them to convert when they don't have the numbers up there supporting the ball.
East Brunswick with an opportunity on the far side. We're going to get a push going against J.P. Stevens. The referee is going to stop the clock on this one. At least a penalty and possibly a card. Yes, in fact, it is going to be a yellow card going against Mark Shanker, the stopper for J.P. Stevens. So at the 22:47 mark, the first yellow card of the afternoon will be issued against Mark Shanker. So Shanker will check out of the ball game, as is the rule in high school soccer on the yellow card. He'll check out, and J.P. Stevens player checking in to cover the sweeper role for Shanker. It'll be an indirect restart on the far side for East Brunswick. Robert Longo over to take it for EB. J.P. Stevens holding the line at the 18, a long chip shot into the middle, and one more time pulled down by Matt Gill. So Gill one more time will wait for the box to clear out.
He didn't get challenged that much. You'd think that one of the Bears would get in front of him to try to act as some kind of a diversion, or at least some interference for him without actually causing any contact.
East Brunswick with one more opportunity for East Brunswick. That's Mike Pollard beating 3 J.P. Stevens players, but he can't convert it with a shot on net. Vanguard tries to maintain control on the far side, but J.P. Stevens is going to break up this opportunity and clear the ball out one more time. It's going to be a push-off against East Brunswick. It'll be a J.P. Stevens restart, and really this has been the story this afternoon here at East Brunswick. It's domination by East Brunswick, but they can't convert on the opportunities, a number of big opportunities so far. But Matt Gill, the J.P. Stevens goalkeeper, really hasn't had to come up big yet this afternoon.
No, the shots have been somewhat routine, except for the one Vangarud hit off the post. He's not really. There you go.
One more opportunity, and this time the offside trap works. Vangarud, the name we were just talking about, gets called offsides on the effective J.P. Stevens trap, so another missed opportunity.
I don't know if I would have called that one. That right fullback for J.P. Stevens was hanging back there pretty well. He looked pretty, at least even, if not onside. But the referee's got the whistle.
J.P. Stevens puts the ball into play. East Brunswick quickly off the header, and they're on the attack one more time. Vangarud tries to turn on it. A high ball, and Matt Gill was caught a little out of position on that one. He came off of his line, and you saw him backpedaling as he watched and prayed that that ball would go over the crossbar. And, in fact, it did, so it'll be a goal kick restart on the far side for J.P. Stevens.
Gill looks pretty steady so far. In spite of Stevens' 1-4-2 record, they haven't scored a lot of goals, but they haven't given up that many either. Every game they've played has been a tight contest. Might seem a little boring for the fans, but a team like this that plays so tight defensively, they kind of hope for a break here and there where they can capitalize and catch a team off guard.
Substitution for East Brunswick, checking in for EB, was Brad Caruso, as Michael Pollard took a seat on the bench, so that'll be the second substitution this afternoon for East Brunswick, as Coach Dan Haston tries to change some things up in the front and see if someone could put a foot on the ball. Taking the throw-in on the near side is Brad Caruso, the new check-in for East Brunswick. He's going to send a chip shot. Good shot. Good opportunity for East Brunswick. Mark DeGrandis gets goal side, but one more time, can't convert it into a shot. J.P. Stevens will have the throw-in on the far side. DeGrandis will stay back to watch the keeper to make sure Stevens doesn't put it into their goalkeeper. Stevens will send it down the far side touchline. East Brunswick one more time stepping up and breaking it up, but the ball is sent over the touchline. It'll be another throw-in. Referee's calling that it went off J.P. Stevens, so it'll be an East Brunswick throw-in this time, quickly off the head of Rosenthal. A second header and some contact in the middle there. No call, and East Brunswick tries to maintain control in the middle. That one off the head of Anthony Cerro for J.P. Stevens. The ball sent over the far side. Quick throw-in by Tim DeSantis for J.P. Stevens. Brings it up over midfield, but headed out of bounds by East Brunswick. Stevens one more time will walk it up that far side. This is a number of times we've seen them do this. Tim DeSantis will send the ball in. It'll be sent out of bounds by an East Brunswick player, and then they'll have a second or third throw-in. East Brunswick will break it up and send it up. Now running for EB is Scott Rosenthal in the middle. He's looking upfield. Rosenthal takes it off of his chest. Can't control it. It's cleared out by J.P. Stevens. Stevens playing a bit of kick and run soccer, sending it down the far side touchline for Steve Fulop. East Brunswick takes control of it over the head of Rosenthal and off the head of a J.P. Stevens player. Caruso will check back to take it. He'll leave off for Gurriello. Has some problems controlling it. He's able to take it off the J.P. Stevens player, tries to beat the Stevens player. Good move by Gurriello, and he's going to run it. A well-deserved move on the near side. Sent it a little bit early off the foot of Caruso. Now Caruso looking to send it up to another East Brunswick player. Sends near side touchline for Mark DeGrandis. DeGrandis will continue down the near side touchline for Rosenthal. Rosenthal over, give and go to the middle. Good opportunity for East Brunswick. DeSantis can't convert it. And we saw some really clean, nice soccer there for East Brunswick. A couple of give and goes, some nice, solid passing, but unfortunately, one more time, can't convert it into a shot on goal.
Well, Gariello did a nice piece of dribbling down around midfield and cleared himself, and because of his dribbling, was able to get the numbers up in the box. But again, they just weren't able to convert, and you hope for their sake they can get something early to get the monkey off their back with all the opportunities they've had.
DeGrandis will send it off of the corner kick, clear across the box and out of bounds off the head of a J.P. Stevens player. The referee's going to signal an East Brunswick throw-in. Over to take the throw-in will be Caruso for East Brunswick. So see if he can send it to the middle of the box. So there are a number of East Brunswick players there, and he can. Gill comes off his line one more time, and you do have to give Gill credit this afternoon as he has been effective coming off the line, pulling down the crosses.
Well, with a record like J.P. Stevens has, probably one of the toughest positions is your keeper. He's going to get all the action all day, and you can only gain confidence as this game goes on and the score remains 0-0. On the other hand, Kartzman's got to hope he doesn't freeze out there from inactivity.
Steve Phillip will have the throw in on the far side for Stevens. Puts it into DeSantis. DeSantis has some problems with it, and East Brunswick's going to mount an attack one more time. Rosenthal is running on the offense for East Brunswick. Sends it through looking for the foot of Caruso. Can't find him. We're going to have another infraction against J.P. Stevens, so it'll be another East Brunswick restart. East Brunswick will try to catch Stevens off guard, looking for Caruso in the middle. Stevens send it out of bounds on the near side touchline, so it'll be a throw-in just at the midfield line for East Brunswick. Over to take it for EB, Evan Schotlander. He's going to send it back to Merkel. Merkel has the field of view in front of him. He'll settle the ball down and send it right to a Stevens player, that time off the chest of Tim DeSantis. He's going to try to convert something here. Merkel checks back and takes it away from Steve Phillip running onto it, but Stevens has some numbers, and they're going to try one more time. Has the near side clear now for Stevens. That's Mark Shanker. Shanker tries to turn on Merkel, but Merkel effectively knocks it down. Carson will come off his line and pull that ball in just on the end line. 16-12 remaining in this first half. East Brunswick and J.P. Stevens still tied at 0. Below the leg of Caruso, just under his foot, and now running onto it, a couple of East Brunswick players. East Brunswick will settle down, finds Rosenthal in the middle of the field now. Rosenthal looking to send someone through, sends a good through ball for DeGrandis. He can't get onto it fast enough as Gill will come one more time up with it, and Gill really has been the go-to person for Stevens. He's touched the ball more than any player on the field this afternoon.
Well, with J.P. Stevens fullbacks pulling up more, it gives Gill an opportunity to come a little further out of his box and receive some of these long balls.
Gurriello sends near side for the East Brunswick outside back. Now Gurriello will run onto it, tries to maintain control. It bounces off his leg, and the referee calling it for Stevens properly. Gurriello trying to pick it up and throw it in quickly, but nothing happening there. Stevens will now turn it around for J.P. Stevens. That's Devin Grossman who will send a long ball, and offsides for Stevens. So Stevens finally gets goal side with an opportunity. That was Anthony Serro, who was nailed just about at the 18-yard line. Actually, a little bit outside the 18-yard line with an offside, so it'll be a restart situation for East Brunswick. Merkel will take it. Merkel looking at the field of view ahead of him. A couple of East Brunswick players off the bench getting ready to check in. That's Chad Holcomb and David Vangerud, who had some time in earlier. He came off, and he's standing and ready to check in for East Brunswick on their restart situation next. East Brunswick tries to find something in the middle of the field, running onto Gurriello, playing very effective this afternoon. One more time, another East Brunswick shot from about 25 yards out, right into the hands of Gill. And Gill one more time has to come down with it. He'll wait for the box to clear, and he'll punt it. Again, a short punt, as you got to figure his leg is starting to get tired. He's punted that ball at least a dozen times, if not more, this afternoon.
Well, you notice that most of the play from East Brunswick has been coming down the middle of the field, and the J.B. Stevens defense, they've been packing 5 and 6 people in the middle. They got to spread them out and then try to work some quick passing combinations to sneak in there. Otherwise, they're just going to pack it in. It's kind of hard to pass it through 12 legs out there, or take a shot for that matter.
Another restart situation for East Brunswick. Gurriello gets goal side, and Gill is going to come have some problems bobbling it. The referee is going to call a dangerous play against Gurriello as he picked his leg up in the face of the goalkeeper, Matt Gill. But a good challenge by Gurriello nonetheless, an opportunity to try to beat him, unable to do so. So it'll be another restart situation. I feel like I've said that word 1,000 times this afternoon, because this game really has been broken up a lot. It's been very heavy officiating, and that's been rough for East Brunswick to really get momentum going if the game continuously gets broken up. One more time here with another infraction. The referee is not allowing them to play this afternoon.
There's some things that probably should just be let go because of the advantage rule, as we saw one goal get taken away by a quick whistle. Too many whistles really slow down the play and make it kind of boring for both the players and the fans.
East Brunswick now with an opportunity, running onto it near side. Rosenthal just barely keeps it in, and unable to do so, as one more time the field for East Brunswick is sloped toward the outside, and that time the slope got the better of Rosenthal. The ball rolled over the touchline, so it'll be a throw-in for Stevens.
That was one handball that looked like it was missed that time by on the sweeper of J.P. Stevens.
But we're going to get another jumping in call, a favorite call of this referee. Restart for J.P. Stevens, quickly off the leg of Merkel. He's going to send it up far side, looking for Rob Longo, but a little bit wide. Longo will now run onto it. He has a couple of East Brunswick players running in the middle. He's going to send it down the line for Caruso. Caruso with 2 players to beat. Can't control it off of his leg and out of bounds. It'll be a Stevens throw, and Gill is going over to probably take the throw-in off of that far side. East Brunswick getting caught off guard that time, not covering back. A little late reaction. But nonetheless, they still have dominated so far this afternoon, as we have 12 minutes remaining in this first half. East Brunswick and Stevens still tied at 0. Quick punt by Gill, but again, East Brunswick will win the 50-50 ball in the middle of the field. Another push-off called against East Brunswick. The play is stopped one more time. It's a good thing they don't stop the clock in soccer as they do in other sports for infractions, because we'd be here all night.
Either that or the referees are getting paid by the whistle.
JP Stevens will put the ball in, and Merkel one more time. Merkel has been the leader in the backfield, maintaining control as he often does. He'll come up with it and try running on the far side touchline. It's going to be, we'll see if that's out of bounds or an infraction. It's going to be another infraction, so Merkel will start it up again from the far side touchline. The East Brunswick players that we mentioned before, Chad Holcomb and David Van Gerud, are still standing on the sideline trying to stay loose as they run up and back, getting ready to check in. They haven't had an opportunity yet to do so. Another player for East Brunswick, Michael Poller, who was in earlier, he's up off the bench talking to Coach Hastings, so we could see a number of substitutions for EB as we head into the final 10 minutes of this first half. Punt near side by Gill off one bounce, and finally JP Stevens will win one 50-50 ball. Gurriel will run onto it strong on the near side. Quick throw, and Hastings calling for the substitution. The referee is going to allow him to make the subs. Gurriel tried to get the ball in quickly, unable to do so. The 3 subs we already called for are into the game. Checking off for EB, Pasha Faros, Dan Gurriello, and Mark DeGrandis. So Coach Hastings trying to find the right combination, a number of substitutions, and we'll see if someone could finally get a shot on goal as Rosenthal will put the ball in quickly on the near side touchline. The ball is sent through on a give and go back to Rosenthal. He couldn't receive it. East Brunswick still maintains control. That time sent up by Evan Schottlander, but no one there. East Brunswick with some sloppy passing in the middle, but they're able to maintain control as they have been all afternoon. Another shot. Gill coming off his line goes far side and picks it up.
Yeah, earlier in this play, the whole left side, left wing for East Brunswick was wide open, but they've got to be able to see the field and react to where JP Stevens is. The Hawk defenders are all bunching together in the middle of the field, and the idea at this point is to spread them out and hope you can beat them one-on-one.
Counterattack for Stevens, but one more time Merkel will come up with it and he'll restart the play on the far side, running it down the far side touchline. Longo will run onto it a little late to it. Stevens will send it, and finding a through ball, referee is going to call something against East Brunswick. Didn't catch that call, but nonetheless it's going to be a JP Stevens restart. 25 yards out, far side, 9:45 remaining in this first half. East Brunswick and Stevens still tied at 0. The referee is going to back Stevens up another 2, maybe 5 yards, as the referee is still calling him to back up a little bit more. East Brunswick's going to hold the line at the 18. Merkel, the last man back, just off of the 18. Chip shot to the middle, off the head of Merkel, and East Brunswick's going to try clearing it out. Stevens looking for a shot on goal. Good opportunity, and a shot and a goal for JP Stevens. Just a matter of time, as it appeared to be Tim DeSantis on that goal. With 9:25 remaining in this first half, JP Stevens breaks the East Brunswick defense and capitalized on the first goal of the afternoon. It's JP Stevens 1, East Brunswick nothing.
Yeah, the worst fears of Coach Hastings to realize now all the opportunities they've had down in the Hawk end, and Kartzman, that's really the first opportunity they've had down at the Bear goal all day, and there was really nothing he could do on that shot.
So we'll see if East Brunswick can rally back and put at least one in before the end of the half. They have 9:25 remaining in this first half. East Brunswick will run it near side. Rosenthal will take the trap. Fakes to the middle, now is going to come outside for Van Gerud. Has some problems controlling it. Rosenthal will come onto it. He loses it, and Stevens is going to be on the counterattack one more time. That's Tim DeSantis in control of the ball in the middle of the field. A trip going against East Brunswick, so JP Stevens will have another restart situation. DeSantis back to take it. He's going to leave off for his teammate Devin Grossman. Grossman will send it quickly into DeSantis. East Brunswick getting caught a little bit off guard on that restart situation, as you have to figure they're a bit flustered right now. They've dominated the entire first 30 minutes of this ball game, and they just got caught off guard on that one goal, and now they're trailing 1-0. East Brunswick will send a through ball. Good opportunity, one-on-one situation for Van Gerud. He's tripped up, and the referee is going to call that one. It should be a penalty kick, but as is usual in soccer, he'll probably call it just outside the 18, and that, in fact, is going to be the call. Referees usually err on the side of the defense as they don't want to call something that could change the face of this game. Appeared to me that it was inside the penalty box, but East Brunswick will have a direct kick from 18 yards out, almost dead center straight on. Good opportunity for EB. 2 East Brunswick players there, Mike Poller and Robert Longo, to take the shot, and we'll see which one's going to take it.
This is one you just want to take a good hard shot and try to get some topspin and get over to the wall.
Quick shot by Longo, and there's a goal. Rob Longo, 8:06 remaining in this first half, and it's a tie ball game. Rob Longo takes the restart situation from Mike Poller, and we're tied. East Brunswick and JP Stevens, 1-1.
So much for looping it over the wall, huh?
Very important goal for East Brunswick is you have to figure that Coach Haston and the team would be really frustrated going in at the half down 1-0 because it's obvious that they've dominated this entire first half. They got beat on the one goal, and it would be a shame to go into the locker room 1-1 at halftime, 1-0, I should say, at a disadvantage at halftime. But needless to say, it's a new ball game. We're tied 1-1, 8:05 remaining.
Well, it's good that they bounced back so quick after giving up the opening goal and having dominated so much in the first half.
Another infraction against JP Stevens, one more time jumping in, so East Brunswick will restart it near side, sends it to the middle of the field in control, Longo. And the referee's gonna call a push against JP Stevens. And there's another time where we saw an advantage taken away from East Brunswick. A number of times this afternoon the referees have taken advantages away, and there's an example of once East Brunswick will quickly restart, send the through ball, and what are we gonna have on this? Possibly an offside.
Another offside call.
Well, whatever, it was offsides according to the referee. 7:28 remaining. It'll be an indirect restart from just outside the 18. Stevens will put the ball over the midfield line off the head of an East Brunswick player, actually off the shoulder of Evan Schottlander, and East Brunswick will try running it one more time. Up the middle for East Brunswick, Rosenthal, he's tripped, he continues to play, but no call. Stevens is gonna try running near side, up over the head of Adam Garsh, who checked in for Stevens. He'll send it to the middle of the field, cleared out by Merkel, and now JP Stevens is on the attack, near side corner. And Merkel will slide in, and we're going to get a tripping call against Merkel just off of the touchline. JP Stevens, Anthony Sarro was tripped up on that one, so it'll be a restart situation for them. Coming up to take it will be Devin Grossman.
See now, JP Stevens has brought 8 guys up into the box.
Good opportunity for them to catch something in the middle, but just as well, it's a great opportunity for East Brunswick to catch a counterattack, because there's only one JP Stevens player that's outside, say, about 20 yards off of the end line. So it'll be a long shot right into the goal, right into the hands of Kartzman, and we'll see if they can capitalize on a quick counterattack. Kartzman with a number of steps. The referee's not going to call it, and they lose the advantage of catching Stevens off guard, but Stevens will send it up to the middle of the field, jumping onto it for EB. That was Mark DeGrandis. He couldn't control it. Now DeGrandis has the ball at his foot. He's going to send it far side. Broken up by JP Stevens. Stevens sends it to the middle of the field. Two JP Stevens players running onto it, switching fields. Stevens running on the near side for JP Stevens. That'll be Adam Garsh one more time. Garsh sends it to the middle of the field. DeSantis in control of the ball. East Brunswick stepping up. And off the chest of an East Brunswick player, that's Mark DeGrandis, and now East Brunswick will be on the counterattack. They have numbers. It's a 4-on-3 situation forming here, looking for a through ball. We'll see who has the speed advantage. East Brunswick running onto it, sending it to the middle, looking for Vanguard running on, but the keeper is not challenged, and Gill will come up with it. 5:30 remaining in this first half. East Brunswick and JP Stevens tied 1-1, quickly punted out right to an East Brunswick player. They're going to counterattack again. Longo will run far side. Can't control it. It's off his foot, so it'll be a JP Stevens throw-in. Stevens will send the ball down the line, and the ball is hit off of JP Stevens, possibly a pushing call there, or a throw-in. We'll see which one's going to be called, and it is going to be a pushing call against East Brunswick. As the ball is left on the ground. We'll see if it's picked up. Yeah, no, it is going to be a pushing call as we originally had said. We flip-flop back and forth, but the referee not giving us any help on that one. JP Stevens has the restart. We'll see if they can put something together on it, sending it up over midfield into the middle of the field. East Brunswick's going to counterattack near side, running it Michael Pollard. Pollard's going to send a long ball. The referee's going to call offsides one more time. Far side, that was Rob Longo.
Yeah, that was a good call. He had to step on the defender, and referee made a good call. It was right in front of him.
4:42 remaining. East Brunswick and JP Stevens tied at 2. It's a JP Stevens restart on the far side, about 35 yards off of the end line. It was offsides against East Brunswick. Stevens will take the kick, about 30 yards to the middle of the field, off for JP Stevens player DeSantis. DeSantis will take the second header, and now East Brunswick will maintain control. 2 East Brunswick players colliding in the middle. We're going to get dangerous play. Big signaled against Michael Pollard as he lifted his cleats past the vertical mark, so it'll be a restart for JP Stevens. Stevens with a quick touch pass. 3 East Brunswick players checking up to take it. Everybody falling out there, and the referee is going to call an infraction against Stevens. So now East Brunswick will turn it around. It's penalty city this afternoon as East Brunswick will restart it. Sending it up midfield. Rosenthal will run onto it. He's going to leave near side touchline. A give and go back. East Brunswick is in an offsides position right now, but they can't send the ball through, and the offsides isn't called till the through ball. Nothing there. Now sent up for Vangarud. He takes a step, but not enough as he can't control it. East Brunswick bobbles it in the middle. See if they can string something together as we head into the final minutes. And we're going to get a trip against East Brunswick. One more time. that trip is going to be signaled against Longo, so it'll be a J.P. Stevens restart. 3:30 remaining in this first half. Be a great opportunity for either team to capitalize on catching the other team off guard and head into the locker room with a 2-1 advantage as we head into the final minutes. East Brunswick will take the header quickly up to Longo on the far side. He'll send it to the middle of the field, running on for East Brunswick, Michael Poller. Poller looking on the through ball, advantage off the penalty, nothing there. Stevens will try sending it back up the other way.
East Brunswick's taking too long to get the ball off their foot and send their wing down. It's holding their forwards up. They can't go any further. It'll be offside as soon as the ball's played.
East Brunswick having some problems getting an offensive attack together. They have dominated the field of play this afternoon, but the scoreboard wouldn't reflect that as it's tied East Brunswick and Stevens 1-1 in control of the ball. East Brunswick middle of the field looking to send someone coming near side now for Rosenthal. Rosenthal's going to try to turn on it. Beats two J.P. Stevens players. East Brunswick now in control of it about 35 yards out, sending it down to Van Groot on the near side. Drop back for an East Brunswick player looking to send it through that time for East Brunswick was Lewis Kimmel. It'll be sent back to Merkel at midfield. Merkel will send the near side for Kimmel. He'll just barely keep the ball in bounds, but then send it down the touchline and out of bounds. J.P. Stevens throwing just shy of the midfield line.
If I'm Coach McMullen, I'll be ecstatic going into halftime at 1-1, given the way the play's gone so far.
Under 3 minutes remaining. One more time, we'll remind our viewers that we don't have the official time, as the official time is kept down on the field with the referee and not on the scoreboard. It now stands at 2:59, and the final moments are clicking off. Longo will run it on the far side. He has one man to beat, can't do so. The referee's going to call a push-off, possibly taking it away an advantage, but nonetheless, East Brunswick's going to capitalize and restart it one more time. Has Vanguard on the near side. If he sends the ball through, waited a little bit too long. A good opportunity lost that time. East Brunswick's Mark DeGrandis will run onto it, and offsides now for East Brunswick.
That's twice now. Last two plays downfield, Pollar's hold on to the ball a little too long. Got to work some combination with your teammates out there and try to catch the defenders off balance.
So we know what East Brunswick has to talk about at the halftime as J.P. Stevens will put the ball into play one more time. East Brunswick dominates the middle third of the field. They come down with the 50-50 ball, see if they can maintain control of it. Stevens now will control it. Steve full up on the far side. He's going to send it to the middle of the field. J.P. Stevens trying to get a through ball there. Cleared out by East Brunswick up over midfield. East Brunswick will try the attack one more time. Rosenthal a little slow to react, and Stevens will send it back up the other way. J.P. Stevens on the attack. We're probably under a minute now, as Stevens has control of the ball about 40 yards out, looking to send the through ball. East Brunswick in a tight situation. Carsman comes off his line. He pulls it down off of two J.P. Stevens players, just short of the 18-yard line. Another good opportunity for Stevens. Carsman will wait for the box to clear, and he'll send the ball up over the 50-yard line. One bounce under the foot of the Stevens player. That was Joe Gallo, but Stevens maintains control. They'll run it near side, up over midfield. Drop back for a support pass, sent off the chest of an East Brunswick player that time. Mark DeGrandis. East Brunswick tries to mount something, through ball. No one called offsides this time. Gill will come off his line and scoop it up. Not really challenged. And he's going to wait for the box to clear out. Once again, he's in no hurry. He knows we're in the final seconds of this first half.
And again, you can see with the Hawk defenders playing up so tightly, any long ball, Gill has a lot of confidence coming deep out of his box without any challenge.
And that will wrap up the first half for you. East Brunswick and J.P. Stevens. We're at J. Doyle Field. The score is tied 1-1 to run down the scoring for you. J.P. Stevens got on the board first with 9:25 remaining in the first half. Tim DeSantis beat Ben Kartzman to give the Hawks a 1-0 advantage. East Brunswick responded very quickly. A minute 19 later, Rob Longo took a pass from Mike Poller off a restart situation. And with 8:06 remaining in this first half, tied the score 1-1, and that's where we stand right now. East Brunswick and J.P. Stevens tied at 1. And if you're J.P. Stevens, as you mentioned, you have to be happy heading into the locker room.
Absolutely. Most of the first half was played down to J.B. Stevens' end. They had no numbers going up into the offense except for the one goal they got. And East Brunswick's had a ball off the post and a lot of chances where if they just made a quicker pass through the middle, they would have been able to send somebody in free.
So for East Brunswick, you see Dan Haston there talking to the troops as he's letting them know they've controlled this ball game. They just need to put the ball in the back of the net. And with Dan Haston on the screen, we're going to go to our halftime break, and when we come back, we'll have the second half kickoff in just a moment. Welcome back to J. Doyle Field. The score is tied at 1. It's East Brunswick and J.P. Stevens. For those of you who just joined us, as we mentioned going into the break, Tim DeSantis gave J.P. Stevens the 1-0 advantage. Rob Longo responded with 8 minutes remaining in this first half, and that's where we stand, tied at 1. East Brunswick has the kickoff, and we're underway for the second half. As the play starts to form here, we spoke before the half about what J.P. Stevens' coach should feel like going into halftime. Let me ask you now, what did Dan Haston have to say to the group at halftime?
He couldn't be happy coming off of the play of the first half, where clearly East Brunswick dominated control and time of possession, but they just failed time and time again to click offensively. Too many missed opportunities. Simple things, hanging on to the ball too long, not reading the opponent's defense and reacting to different situations, and looking at him conversing with him on the sidelines during the halftime, he didn't look like a happy camper out there.
Oh, we'll see if it does anything to them, as J.P. Stevens so far has maintained control for the first minute of this half. They've kept the ball in the offensive half the entire time. East Brunswick is going to try to mount something, bring it up over midfield, but J.P. Stevens is waiting there, and they'll counterattack again. J.P. Stevens has control of the ball. DeSantis near side. East Brunswick will break it up, and stepping over the ball for EB, that was Evan Schotlander. Schotlander still controls, drops back to Merkel. Merkel's going to switch it up and send it up to Longo.
You can see, too, J.P. Stevens has gotten a little more confidence. You notice their halfbacks have come up into the offense a little more and taken a few more chances.
Kartzman has already had to come up with his third time that he's touched the ball, not necessarily a save, but the third time he's touched the ball in a minute and a half. So it is a different J.P. Stevens club coming out here, maybe a bit of confidence, and we'll see maybe East Brunswick can use that to their advantage with a quick counterattack and catch them off balance. We'll see what happens. J.P. Stevens has the throw-in on the far side. Long throw into the center of the box, off of the head of Stevens' player. East Brunswick looking to clear it out. Merkel will step up one more time from his sweeper roll and send the ball right up the middle. Stevens looking to counterattack for East Brunswick. Van Gerud will run onto it. He can't get to it. Stevens will run it near side touchline. Onto it is Eric Herrera. Hope I got that right. This is the first time he'll be in for this afternoon. He checked in at the half.
I believe it's pronounced Reha.
Reha.
Silent H at the beginning.
Okay, so Eric Reha runs it into the corner, and Stevens will have a throw in one more time. Long throw, and Kartzman will come off his line, and he'll pull it down off of the cross, and he's going to call out some orders to his players. He'll throw it near side for Firaz. Firaz will take it down one time, turn it up for Longo off the head of Gurriello, looking to send Longo. Longo is goal side, has a step on his player. See if he can get a shot off. Waited a second too long. Van Gerud now on the follow-up, and he'll bounce it off of the Stevens player, that time going off of Joe Gallo and out of bounds. Over the end line, it'll be a corner kick for East Brunswick. 37 minutes remaining in this ball game. East Brunswick and Stevens tied at 1. It'll be a corner kick over to take it for East Brunswick. It'll be Rob Longo. Longo will place the ball down in the corner. Number of East Brunswick players circling around in the box. Long shot into the middle, and no one getting a shot off that time, as we have an infraction called, maybe an offsides, although the referee isn't indicating. No, it's definitely way too far out to be an offside. Some sort of other infraction, maybe a push or something. So Stevens will put the ball into play. It'll bounce off the head of an East Brunswick player, and East Brunswick will try to mount an offense one more time. East Brunswick having a hard time this afternoon mounting an offense, as East Brunswick fans will notice there's an obvious difference in this offense this afternoon, as we'll talk about it in 1 minute. Dan Gurriello running onto a good opportunity, broken up by Stevens, no call there, and it'll be a restart, a goal kick for Stevens. As we were saying, there's a noticeable difference to this offense, as they're missing a big gun up front.
Yeah, I don't know where Joe Condorso might be. I know he'd had some ankle problems, but he's definitely conspicuous by his absence out there. He seems to be the playmaker out there for East Brunswick, and they just seem to be missing that last ingredient out there to score.
So that could be one of the pieces of this puzzle missing this afternoon. As we have mentioned, East Brunswick has dominated, but the score doesn't really resemble a dominance. It's going to be a penalty kick for East Brunswick. There was an infraction in the box. Longo is going to take it. We saw Longo get the first goal this afternoon. Now at 35:41 remaining, it'll be Rob Longo to take the penalty kick. The referee is going to check over with the keeper, make sure he stays on his line, and here's an opportunity for East Brunswick to take the lead. Rob Longo takes the whistle, quick shot, right corner, and it's a goal. Rob Longo puts East Brunswick up with 35:27 remaining in the ball game. It's East Brunswick 2, J.P. Stevens 1. That'll be the second goal of the afternoon for Rob Longo.
penalty kicks are 99% certain death for the keeper out there. But there's really not too much they can do on a penalty kick except try to guess the right way is the reaction time. The rules prohibit a keeper from moving off his goal line until the ball's first touched. And generally, by the time the ball's first touched, it's in the back of the net.
35-27 remaining. East Brunswick has the 2-1 edge, and that's the score that we saw last time when East Brunswick and J.P. Stevens played. J.P. Stevens jumping off the line that time, a little bit aggressive, so it's going to be called back on another restart. And as I was saying, that's the score that the final score last time East Brunswick visited J.P. Stevens earlier this year, and we'll see if that's how it ends. J.P. Stevens is on the attack near side. Another push going against. First, the referee signals it against East Brunswick. Now he's going to signal it against J.P. Stevens. So Firaz will set the ball down. He's going to leave off for another player. Setting it up for EB. Evan Schottlander sends to Merkel. Back to Schottlander. He has some problems, but he's able to beat his player. Comes near side from Merkel. Merkel's going to send a long through ball looking for Longo. A little bit to the center. No one running onto it. East Brunswick, or J.P. Stevens will clear it out. Now J.P. Stevens is on the counterattack. Merkel comes back from his offensive half. A bit of a bicycle kick, not sending it that far, and Stevens will keep it on the offensive half. Firaz will take the one bounce, send it right into the foot of a J.P. Stevens player. And Stevens with an opportunity as they mount together a bit of an attack this second half, more so in the first half. A blatant offsides for Anthony Cerro that time against J.P. Stevens. So East Brunswick will restart, and it's pretty obvious that J.P. Stevens has a little bit more offense than they did the first half.
Well, they need it now. They've got to take a few more chances. Like I said, at the half, they were ecstatic to be in a tied situation, but now if they want to have any chance of tying or winning, they've got to be a little more opportunities for them. They've got to create more chances, and they leave themselves open to a quick counterattack, as we saw right there, except for the offside call on the left wing.
So Longo is nailed for the offsides. 34 minutes remaining in this game. East Brunswick with the 2-1 advantage. It's the first time this afternoon that Stevens has faced a deficit, so we'll see how that plays into the mix, and that could be, as you mentioned, part of the reason they are taking more chances. They've been a bit more offensive-minded, as East Brunswick will send it back upfield. J.P. Stevens will bounce the ball around. A couple of headers and a bit of a ping-pong game in the middle of the field. East Brunswick's going to come down with control. We'll see for how long. Running it near side, looking for Longo. Good overlap. Gurriello's going to go to the middle. One quick cut. He's going to leave it off for Longo. Great opportunity for Longo right into the hands of the keeper. Bounces off of the keeper as he was trying to go through Gill, unable to do so. Really pretty soccer in the middle there by Longo, and Gurriello with a step to the right and then a little bit of a heel tap. But East Brunswick couldn't convert on the play. 33-15 remaining. It'll be a J.P. Stevens throw-in.
Well, that's what East Brunswick needs to do, is not get overly fancy, but do something to try to catch the defenders going the wrong way. And Gurriello made a nice drag back of the ball that time and sent Longo in by himself, but he just couldn't convert.
So a bit of creativity up front. That's something that they've been missing this afternoon, and maybe it's an omen of things to come as J.P. Stevens will send the ball in off an East Brunswick player, and J.P. Stevens will quickly clear the ball out of bounds, way out of bounds, over the track fence. So another ball is quickly given to East Brunswick. They'll send the ball in. East Brunswick tries to control middle of the field. DeSantis for Stevens tries to break it up for EB. That's Evan Schottlander. Schottlander lays off near side for Mark DeGrandis. DeGrandis sends for the middle for Gurriello. Gurriello trying to beat two players, unable to do so as the third Stevens player will clear it out. A long ball, a bit of kick and run. Kartzman calling for the ball to be sent back to him. He'll take it off his foot and send it back out quickly to Merkel. Merkel's going to turn around, face two J.P. Stevens defenders. He's going to split them and come near side touchline for Mark DeGrandis. DeGrandis is going to run it down the touchline, finding Longo. Longo looking at Gurriello in an offsides position. He has not to go to him, and now that's Pasha Firaz will send the overlap on the far side, looking for Rosenthal. Rosenthal beats his player in the corner, see if he can turn it, and he does. Behind DeGrandis, anyone running onto it, Longo will just lay it right into the hands of Gill. Another opportunity for Longo. Can't fault him as he already has 2 goals this afternoon, but he has missed 2 big opportunities in the last minute. Could be a 4-1 ball game for EB. East Brunswick keeps the pressure on. J.P. Stevens will punt it out, and they'll take the 50-50 ball one more time in the middle of the field. A trip, referee will call play on. East Brunswick's Longo will have it. He's going to send middle of the field. But East Brunswick player coming out of the back. Couldn't really break the offense. It was Mark DeGrandis, and the ball is bounced off of a Stevens player and out of bounds. The Longo will take the throw in near side. He's going to send it into Gurriello. Gurriello will send it right back to Longo. A little bit too hard and under the foot of Longo. Have to question whether Rob Longo is getting a little bit tired out there. He's been running a lot and starting to make a couple of mistakes that indicate that he could be getting a bit tired.
Well, he's not a road runner. You know, he's a husky kid. For someone his size, he's got some very smooth moves, but I don't know that he's the type to get into a speed game out there.
East Brunswick will send the ball into the box. That off the head of Dave Vangerud into the hands of Gill, and Gill will wait one more time for the box to clear out. He'll now punt the ball straight up the middle as he's done all afternoon. It'll bounce off of DeSantis for Stevens and out of bounds. It'll be an East Brunswick throw-in. Firehouse will come over to take it short of midfield. Stevens thinks it's theirs, but the referee gives it correctly to East Brunswick. Quick ball into Gurriello. He's going to try passing it off his chest. Unsuccessful. Mark Shanker will break it up and send it upfield. Off the head of an East Brunswick player to the foot of Rosenthal. Rosenthal lays off to the middle of the field for DeGrandis. He's going to go back in the corner for Vangerud, sending both Rosenthal and Gurriello through the middle. Gurriello gets the better half of it. Gurriello looking to drop it back, beats his players with another real smooth move, falls down, and we'll see if the referee is going to call anything that time. It looks like he may call a trip just outside, one more time outside the 18-yard line. It appeared he was definitely inside the box that time, but as we mentioned earlier, the refs go with the benefit of the doubt. You'll never see anything called. It's borderline and give him a penalty kick.
There was no doubt that ball was in the box.
Rosenthal sends the ball clearly across the box. No one touching it. Gurriello with some great moves this afternoon to set up that play, and it's going to bounce up off the hand of Dave Merkel. Merkel's going to kick the ball out of bounds, something that could really warrant the yellow card. The referee not happy with it. He's just going to send the ball back in and not make any call on this one. J.P. Stevens is going to try setting up a quick one-touch pass near side now for DeSantis. DeSantis is going to try dribbling through the middle, lays off for another Stevens player, coming back near side, cleared out by East Brunswick. Actually, I should say cleared up, as it wasn't cleared out, it was sent to the middle. Now Merkel will come with the clear. One more time, sent in by J.P. Stevens, and now Kartzman will take control in the back. He'll pick it up and send it near side for Firaz. Firaz has some running room, a good 10 yards before a player will now come on to him. He's going to send short pass to the middle. Good opportunity for East Brunswick because they have some numbers near side. Sending Longo, great look for Longo. See if Longo could get through. Has Gurriello, sends him a little bit long, but finds Vangerud coming far side, and Vangerud couldn't get his knee over it. Good opportunity. He's had a few this afternoon, but he just can't put the ball in the back of the net. As you mentioned earlier, he is only a sophomore, and he's getting to see some really good playing time. We'll see if he can actually capitalize on one of his opportunities.
Yeah, that was a great through pass by Longo. He spotted Vangerud coming down the right wing. He put it just far enough so the keeper couldn't come off his line to get it, and Vangerud, another good opportunity for him.
Stevens will restart it off of the goal kick, taking down off of the leg of Mark DeGrandis. Stevens will try to send something far side now. David Lee running onto it. Lee will stop and try to beat his player. Cuts back to the middle. East Brunswick will step up and win control of the ball there. Lewis Kimmel on the far side will send it down the far side touchline off the head of Vangerud. J.P. Stevens on the attack one more time for Stevens. That was Abhishek Singh. And the ball sent out of bounds. It'll be a throw-in for J.P. Stevens. Over to take it, David Lee. Lee is waiting for some movement up front. He has Scott Poltrock. He's going to go right to the middle, one bounce into Kartzman. No challenge. Kartzman likes to throw it out real quick. Unfortunately, that time right to the foot of a J.P. Stevens player. Gurriello checking back to try to help out. Unable to do so, J.P. Stevens maintains control. We're going to get a push-off going against East Brunswick. That's going to be against Rob Longo on the near side. Stevens will have another restart situation. Placing the ball down for Stevens, that's Brian Block. Block will put the ball down on the 40-yard line, which is actually 50 yards from the goal. 27-27 remaining in this ball game. East Brunswick 2, Stevens 1. Long service into the box, looking for the head of a Stevens player, unable to find it. Nice bicycle kick by Stevens, not catching who that was on the opportunity. We'll see as he comes up. Could have been Anthony Cerro. So Cerro with a good bicycle kick opportunity, just couldn't put it on goal.
I volleyed it. Kartzman was caught dead. Cerro had been able to direct it into the net. It would have been a tie game.
So it's going to be a goal kick for East Brunswick. Merkel will check back. About 35 yards off the head of Vangerud. Sent to the middle, catches Kartzman off, and a good opportunity with an open goal for J.P. Stevens off of the crossbar, as you saw there, and East Brunswick comes up lucky that time. Taking the shot for Stevens, David Lee that time, and good opportunity. Actually, the referee is going to call that ball, and that's what I thought, hit the crossbar of the football post. It's very difficult here to tell the difference between them as one's right over the top. It did hit that crossbar, and that's why he's going to award a corner kick to Stevens. It
should be a corner kick. It did go off the soccer goal post there, but Lee had the ball 2 feet away from the net, and he shot it 4 feet high. Just couldn't redirect it. You're never going to get money chances like that.
Again, it's a bit of bit of poetic justice as Vanguard missed a similar shot down the other side, so no one getting an advantage off the open goal. Good opportunity right off the head of Tim DeSantis, in good position, not marked well. Kartzman will come down there. He's going to send long ball to Gurriello, trying to catch Stevens off guard. And we're going to have an offside as Stevens was a little slow coming out of the backfield, but East Brunswick was effective in working their trap. Merkel will restart it from the middle of the field, 25 yards out. He's going to slow the pace down and look at the field ahead of him. Some switching up front. Gurriello will go right side. Vanguard will come into the middle to try to change things, change a little bit of perspective up front, but nothing there as Stevens will run it. Rosenthal will check back for East Brunswick. Merkel will come from the backfield and try to clear it out. No one able to do so. Finally, East Brunswick sends it up to Vanguard. Only 2 players to beat, but East Brunswick can't capitalize on their opportunity. One more time, East Brunswick will run it up the middle. Has some numbers up front. See if someone sends a through ball. Comes near side for Firas. He has some running room. He's going to go right-footed down the touchline to Longo. Longo's going to try to turn on his player. Player effectively fending him off. Longo now goes to the middle, plays the touchline well, see if he can get anything out of it. Unfortunately, he's unable to do so. Quickly turned upfield to DeSantis for Stevens. DeSantis with a quick pass out of bounds, and it'll be a throw-in for East Brunswick. Firas is going to try to come onto it quickly.
Coach Haston may want to give Longo a breather out there. He's been doing a lot of running out there, and as much as he is good at ball control, he could use a couple of minutes to catch his breath.
As we said a few moments ago, he's making some mistakes that are really indicative of a player that's a bit tired. He's played an excellent game this afternoon with 2 goals already, but lately a couple of missed traps and some miscues up front. We'll see if Coach Haston picks up on it as it's going to be a throw-in for J.P. Stevens on the far side in the corner. And Haston has someone come up off the bench, and someone will be checking in for East Brunswick. That appears to be
Michael
Poller, thank you, who's up and stretching for East Brunswick. It's going to be a throw-in. First, the referee's going to signal Stevens, but he changed his mind as it went off of Stevens. East Brunswick quick throw-in, catching Stevens off guard into the hands of Ben Kartzman. Kartzman one more time is going to slow the game down, take a bounce, and he'll punt the ball out. Long punt toward the middle, off of the leg, under the leg of Vanguard, now quickly returned by Stevens. Stevens on the counterattack, a miscue by East Brunswick. DeSantis gets goal side, he can't turn on it. See if he's fended off, and he is. Now he's going to try to beat 2 East Brunswick players. Merkel stepping up from the back, and he's going to clear it out. Quick shot by Stevens to the middle, off the head of a Stevens player, and they are excellent headers in the middle. Brian Block actually took that header. And that's a number of times this afternoon we've seen J.P. Stevens take good headers in the middle.
Well, they're getting some good opportunities because the East Brunswick defenders are trying to one-time every ball out of there and generally popping it up in the air. Had a little patience, at least to settle, get some kind of control on the ball. They could make a constructive play upfield and set their offense.
Good opportunity for East Brunswick running through that time. Rosenthal, but picked off by Matt Gill. Gill will turn it around and send it up the middle for a Stevens player. Now coming near side, we're going to get a push against East Brunswick. That one's going to be called against Vanguard, so it'll be a restart just shy of the midfield for J.P. Stevens. And it seems as if everybody is a little bit sluggish out there right now. J.P. Stevens is really in no hurry to send the ball. East Brunswick slow to get back. 22:40 remaining in this ball game. East Brunswick with a slim 1-goal advantage, 2-1 over J.P. Stevens, but it is important to say that they have dominated much of this afternoon. East Brunswick in control of the ball near side now. Pasha Firas in the corner. He's going to send it to the middle for Merkel. Merkel quick to clear it out, as we've seen a number of times this afternoon. He is very effective in the backfield, but you do have to criticize a little bit and that his main role is to get the ball out of there, but sometimes he sends the ball a little bit too quick. There was a perfect example. No one around him, just sent the ball over the touchline.
Well, at this point, as I mentioned, the East Brunswick defenders have got to look for a way to not only clear the ball out of their end, but do it in a constructive way so they're starting up the offense, as we just see here.
Here's an opportunity for him. Gurriello with a great move one more time. He's really been excellent this afternoon. Good opportunity. He's going to cut in. Can't beat the second player. Great move on the first player. He dropped the ball off left, ran around right. A great deal of speed. He's angry with himself, but it was a good run. He did have Vanguard in the middle. He opted to keep it that time and couldn't beat the second defender. Merkel will have the throw-in on the near side. We're going to have some substitutions for East Brunswick. Now checking in for EB. Michael Poller will return, as is Chad Holcomb. He was in a little bit earlier, coming off to the side. Scott Rosenthal and David Vanguard. So some substitutions up front. Throw-in now on the near side for East Brunswick. Evan Schottlander will send it up the touchline off the head of Longo right into the foot of a J.P. Stevens player. That was Mark Schenker. Schenker will send it to the middle. East Brunswick will try to counterattack. J.P. Stevens in control. A little bit of a support pass, going to play kick and run far side. Merkel is coming out now. Kartzman comes way off his line. A bit of a miscue as Kartzman was out. We don't know whether he called for it, but Merkel sent the ball out of bounds on the far side, and it'll be a J.P. Stevens throw-in. J.P. Stevens will wait for their troops to come upfield and see if they could set up some sort of attack. One J.P. Stevens player down, tying his shoelace, and that could be what we're waiting on right now. East Brunswick really anxious to clear the ball out. And Carson one more time will come off his line unchallenged. She's going to send a rolling pass real quickly far side. And it's sent back in by Stevens, but out of bounds. So it'll be a throw-in for East Brunswick. A quick throw-in, one bounce to Carson. And this time he's most likely going to punt it out. As the last time he tried sending it out, it wasn't effective. He's going to go with the punt this time, about 40 yards, and it'll bounce off the head of an East Brunswick player, now off the Stevens player, but we're going to get an infraction, a jumping in call one more time against J.P. Stevens. East Brunswick quickly will send the ball middle of the field for Longo. Longo late to react. Stevens will step up and beat him to it. Stevens now with a series of passes near side, a bit of a long ball kick by Brian blocking the ball roll. Out of bounds on the near side touchline. Merkel will have the throw, and he has Kartzman all alone. He's going to go there. One bounce to Merkel. From Merkel to Kartzman and right back to Merkel. Now Merkel is looking near side for Firas. Firas sending it into some traffic. Not a good idea, but East Brunswick able to capitalize on Gurriello one more time. He's going to send a long ball. Obvious offsides that time against East Brunswick. So a good opportunity for EB, but offsides.
I'd say the second half so far, now we're about 21 minutes in, I'd say J.P. Stevens has a territorial advantage this half, but at any given moment, East Brunswick dominated the first half, and it was 1-1. J.P. Stevens has the advantage this half, and yet East Brunswick's taking the lead here.
Again, East Brunswick comes to the near side. Nothing happening there. The ball is sent back, and we're going to have another penalty this time going against Stevens. So East Brunswick will start it up one more time from the middle of the field. And if nothing else, all these penalties give both teams a chance to rest up a little bit. East Brunswick certainly at no disadvantage to keep the ball dead a little bit longer. Long ball looking for Longo. Good fend off. He's going to go left-footed, far side post. Good opportunity and an offsides. I don't know whether I would have called that one, as he wasn't really involved in the play, but nonetheless, it still would have gone wide of the goal. So either way, either you get a goal kick or a offsides, pretty much same spot. So the referee's going to give them the offsides call from about 7 yards out.
Well, not only wasn't he really involved in the play, but it was a very late whistle. Came long after the ball had left his Longo's foot.
J.P. Stevens will put the ball into play, and something that we should clarify there, as you were just referring to, it's important for our fans that join us that don't completely understand the offsides call. The offsides is a position that you're in when the ball is sent and not when it's received. So East Brunswick will send the long ball, and we're going to get offsides one more time, and there's an example of something we were talking about. He was onside when the ball was touched on the far side. He received it in an offsides position. Shouldn't have been called. In fact, it was. But once again, East Brunswick can't completely complain with all these calls because it's really not allowing J.P. Stevens to get anything together. It's a lot of dead ball time. As you see now, J.P. Stevens in no hurry. Pretty soon, J.P. Stevens will be playing both against East Brunswick and the clock. We have 17:50 remaining. East Brunswick 2, J.P. Stevens 1. East Brunswick sends a long ball. Gurriello will run onto it one more time. East Brunswick now with an opportunity from about 20 yards out. Dribbling to the middle. Long shot trying to go far post for East Brunswick, unable to do so. Taking the shot that time for EB was Mike Poller, right into the hands of Gill. Actually, I shouldn't say right into the hands, as Gill did have to dive to his side. It was a good shot. Gill came down, then he'll punt it out one more time right up the middle off the head of an East Brunswick player, as has been the case all afternoon. Longo will take it down, and he has a man up front. Gurriello now, he's going to send far post for second East Brunswick player, but he couldn't get a crack on it. So it'll be another goal kick for East Brunswick. Some more substitutions. Van Grood and Rosenthal will check back in for EB. Firaz will come out, and the second East Brunswick player to check out will be Chad Holcomb, who came in on the last substitution. So a couple more subs for East Brunswick. 16:50 remaining. J.P. Stevens has the goal kick. Right off of the leg of Gurriello, right off the leg of Rosenthal to Gurriello. Gurriello looks middle for Longo, and Longo goes one more time right into the hands of Gill. A little slow on the reaction, couldn't get around him. But Longo still is keeping the pressure on Gill. He's keeping him honest, and he knows he's there. East Brunswick will counterattack one more time, running near side for East Brunswick. That'll be Poller. Poller will run it into the corner. He's going to beat his player, but the player pushes him off, and a bit of a delayed call, but they will get it. A push-off going against J.P. Stevens. East Brunswick will have a restart almost from the corner kick position.
That's another call I don't know if I would have made. It was looked like a clean shoulder play, and both players were going for the ball, and As you said, I think the referee was indecisive. He waited a full couple of seconds after the play before he blew his whistle.
Longo will restart it, and he's in no hurry. Is the referee really not making him play it now? He'll send the ball in, looking for an East Brunswick player, trying to take a crack at it. A couple of East Brunswick players there. Vangerwood finally getting a shot one time by the, followed up, and a shot and a goal. It was stopped originally by Gill, but on the follow-up that time for East Brunswick, Mike Pollard will get his first goal of the afternoon and the third for East Brunswick with 15:44 remaining. Mike Pollard gives East Brunswick the 3-1 advantage.
This all starts as a result of an indecisive referee call. You know, if that initial call's not made, the ball play continues. The ball may be out of the box, but that's the way soccer goes.
There's a Stevens player down right on the goal line. The referees haven't taken note of it yet, but the J.P. Stevens coach has, and he's going to come running onto the field now to check with his player. There was a bit of a tie-up in the backfield there to reset the scene for you one more time. It was a restart situation on the near side, almost from the corner kick position. A couple of East Brunswick players getting a crack at it. Finally, Dave Vanger would get a shot, and Gill came up with half a save as he hit it off his right hand. Following it up that time, good heads-up soccer. Mike Pollard put the ball in the back of the net to give East Brunswick the 3-1 advantage, and that could be enough to really secure East Brunswick's lead, noting that they've controlled almost the entire game. And now, with a 3-1 advantage, you really can't expect J.P. Stevens to turn this whole ball game around with one through ball or one quick turnaround.
Well, crazy things can happen in sports, and you know, as much as East Brunswick dominated the first half, the second half until this last flurry up in the J.P. Stevens end, J.P. Stevens had been in somewhat control of the play, and yet they've gone down 2 goals to this half to East Brunswick.
So J.P. Stevens will make a substitution off of the injury. East Brunswick capitalizing on this injury to take a bit of a break. A couple of East Brunswick players coming over to the near side touchline to converse with Coach Dan Haston and get a bit of a drink of water.
I think the J.P. Stevens player might have accidentally swung his head into the elbow of one of the East Brunswick players when that goal was scored.
We mentioned Coach Dan Haston. This would be a good opportunity to let our viewers know that Coach Dan Haston is narrowing in on his 200th victory with a win today. He'll have 197 wins at East Brunswick, so a long, strong tradition that Coach Haston has built here at East Brunswick, and all the accolades to him for doing so, as he is nearing win number 200. Today would give him 197. J.P. Stevens will take the restart, and East Brunswick now will run it on the far side touchline. Unable to keep the ball in was Mike Pollard. The ball will roll out of bounds. Actually, that was Scott Rosenthal. The ball will roll out of bounds, and now an East Brunswick player is down in the middle of the field. Down for East Brunswick, that appears to be Lewis Kimmel. A little slow getting up, as he also is holding his head. There's Coach Haston coming onto the field to check on his player.
Yeah, the Bears are in the midst of a 7-game homestand right now. Their next game being October 10th against Old Bridge at East Brunswick High School. Game time will be at 3:45.
Be an interesting game for these two teams, as East Brunswick has played Madison Central and Cedar Ridge in past years. Now Madison Central and Cedar Ridge come together to form one. It'll be an interesting game for East Brunswick.
Well, it's a good chance, too, for a lot of the younger kids in town to come out and watch the high school team. I know a lot of these kids playing now have grown up in town and come to watch the Bears. You can see some of the ball boys here thinking about where they'll be in 6-7 years, and I get to see some good action at a different level of play as well.
So Kimmel will come off on the near side from the injury, and it'll be a throw-in for J.P. Stevens on the far side. We have 15:29 remaining. J.P. Stevens will put the ball in and quickly off the head of Rosenthal and out of bounds. J.P. Stevens will walk it up about 5 yards after where the ball went out of bounds. East Brunswick will step up from the back and try clearing it out right to that same position on the far side. East Brunswick, one more time, will try clearing it out. Now it'll go right up the middle. Quick header by Dan Gurriello, and East Brunswick tries to control middle of the field off the leg of Mike Pollard. A couple of East Brunswick players now. J.P. Stevens getting a good opportunity. DeSantis gets goal side, see if he can turn on it. He does off the post, but we're going to get a call, I believe, probably an offsides, as DeSantis was offsides at the 18-yard line. So an offside situation being called against J.P. Stevens, and East Brunswick will have the restart in the red kick from the 18-yard line, as Merkel will take it for East Brunswick.
At this point in time, with a 2-goal lead and about 14.5 minutes left, Be a good time for East Brunswick to work on their possession and try to keep J.P. Stevens off the ball, as they're going to be pressing to try to do anything to catch up.
Arkle finds the head of Longo quickly into the middle for Gurriello. Couldn't get onto it. The ball's head out of bounds by J.P. Stevens. Now the ball will be put in by Mike Poller right to the legs of Gurriello. Gurriello, as we've seen this afternoon, has been a creative player. He's going to send far side, switching fields. On the far side, Chad Holcomb will run onto it. Send it down the touchline. Now Vanguard gets goal side, looking to send the ball into the middle of the field. He can't. He's stopped short by a Stevens player. East Brunswick will maintain control middle of the field. Evan Shotlander, he's about 25 yards out, looking to take a shot from 25, and it bounces off the Stevens player. We have 2 offsides calls that time going against Gurriello in the middle, and on the near side, Mike Poller. So 2 players offsides for East Brunswick off of the ricochet, and it'll be an indirect kick. Stevens will take advantage of the kick and move it up about 10 yards. The referee not happy. He's going to call it back and make him do it again, and this is a chance where East Brunswick is really eating some time off, and Stevens is hurting themselves as 20 seconds have clicked off the clock in the time they've had to redo this.
As the game wears on, you get down to the waning minutes. Coach Haston, I'm sure, will milk the clock with his substitution pattern, shuttling people in and out one at a time to kill any bit of time he can with a 2-goal lead.
Stevens sends the ball to the middle, looking to get a shot on it now would be Abhishek Singh. Sends it to another player up front, gets a shot right into the hands of Kartzman. Kartzman one more time will slow the game down, wait for the players to clear out. He's in no hurry, and now he'll punt it long.
Yeah, the Hawk forward tried to get a little too fancy and loop it over when he had the keeper dead on with nobody in front of him. Could have picked any corner in the net he wanted.
Vanguard will run onto it far side. He's going to look to send Gurriello and Longo in the middle, but a little bit too long. One bounce into the hands of Gil. Gil is thinking about coming to the near side on a throw, but he's going to opt to clear that ball as long as he can and give Stevens an opportunity. We're going to get a push against East Brunswick off of the bounce from the punt, so Stevens quickly trying to work, knowing that the clock is playing against them now. They're going to string together a triangle series of passes. Now coming near side, East Brunswick. DeSantis for J.P. Stevens runs right into an East Brunswick player. He can't get around them. That time, J.P. Stevens on the follow-up. That time taking the shot for Stevens was Adam Garsh into the hands of Ben Kartzman. And again, Kartzman will be slow coming up with it as he knows that East Brunswick certainly in no hurry. We're under 12 minutes. Kartzman will punt it up the middle, one bounce, and over the head of Gurriello off the chest of Abhishek Singh. Gurriello will stay with it, try to run toward the near side. He's going to get a push called against, I guess it's Abhishek Singh. He maintained control the entire time and would have had the advantage, again taken away. But East Brunswick will maintain control middle of the field. Mark DeGrandis with it. He's going to try dropping it back. Stevens will step up and take it. Steve Fulop in control middle of the field. Fulop's going to lay off near side. He's going to send a long through ball looking for DeSantis. DeSantis with an opportunity to beat 2 men, unable to do so. That time cleared out by Jonathan Rotter, I believe that was. In the back, name I haven't called yet this afternoon. Missed him subbing in, so Rotter clears it out on the far side. Good mark against DeSantis that time. Stevens now tries to control far side. Merkel will come from the backfield, send it up for Gurriello. Gurriello has Longo middle of the field. He's going to go far side for Vanguard. Vanguard has plenty of time, see if he can get a crack. Beats the keeper. No, one more time right into the keeper. He's tripped up following the shot. He went right into the hands of the keeper, got a second rebound shot, but was tripped by the goalkeeper. No call on that, and the ball's cleared out. It'll be a throw-in for East Brunswick. Another opportunity for Vanguard that he just can't capitalize on.
On a play like that where you've got the keeper one-on-one, probably your best hope is to dribble straight towards him, and he's not going to know whether you're going to go left or right and try to deke, but this time Vangarud didn't do any of that, hoping that the keeper he was just going to be able to chip the ball over the keeper, but he failed to. Coach
Dan Hastings opting to make a substitution on that situation after Vanguard missed the opportunity. He's coming to the bench, and Pasha Faira is checked on for him. East Brunswick now in control far side. Rosenthal is going to try to chip it across and way over the end line and out of bounds, so it'll be a goal kick for J.P. Stevens as we near the 10-minute mark. Substitutions for J.P. Stevens. Checking out for Stevens will be David Lee. And checking in appears to be Brian Block, I believe it is. Okay, it's Anthony Serro. And now DeSantis will control for Stevens. A bit of a flubbed kick to the far side leaves off for Adam Garsh. Garsh back to DeSantis. DeSantis has some problems getting it around. He's going to lay it off on the far side for Mark Shanker. Shanker's running backwards. He's going to leave on a support pass for his outside back. Sending it down the touchline and off the head of an East Brunswick player. Possibly a push, nothing called as it continues down the touchline and out of bounds. Each team thinking it's theirs, but the referee is going to call it in favor of East Brunswick as Merkel will go over to take it. Ball boys a little bit slow getting the ball upfield. Merkel signaling that he'll take the throw in. The ball comes to him about 20 yards out. He looks back at Kartzman, but for JP Stevens, Steve Phillip is back there, so he'll go down the line and it'll be hit out of bounds by an East Brunswick player, so it'll be a Stevens throw and no one to give the ball to Adam Garsh. He'll run it down on his own, pull it off the fence, and now he'll leave it off for another Stevens player, Devin Grossman, who'll take the throw in about 35 yards out, far side touchline. He'll send it in. And it's quickly sent upfield by East Brunswick. Gurriello with one man to beat, a little bit long, so he couldn't quite get to it. East Brunswick on the attack one more time, sent up to the middle of the field, broken up by Scott Poltrock. Poltrock will run it near side. It'll roll out of bounds and last off the leg of an East Brunswick player, so it'll be a Stevens throw, and JP Stevens will take the throw in near side, finds Poltrock down the wing. And the ball is poked out of bounds by East Brunswick, that time out of bounds by Shotlander, so Stevens will have one more throw in on the near side. For JP Stevens, it'll be Mark Shanker taking the throw. Be about 15 yards off of the end line. He's going to look to send the ball right into the center of the box, looking for a header. And the ball is sent up over the end line. The referee signaling that it'll be a corner kick as it went last off of an East Brunswick player. So corner kick situation for JP Stevens. Over to take it for Stevens will be Scott Poltrock. Poltrock will set the ball down. One Stevens player in the box and four running onto it as the kick is sent in. Kartzman will come off his line and punch it out instead of pulling it down. Now East Brunswick will run on the counterattack. Rosenthal tries to control it. He can't. Now it's going to be sent up for Gurriello. He's surrounded by Hawks. He'll drop it back on a support pass. Stevens now with a good series of moves. Abhishek Singh first punches it up and then a header. We're going to get an offsides, but the JP Stevens attackers getting a bit frustrated. They're yelling at the referee pointing over the far side where he says Tim DeSantis was offsides. Either way, the referee has the final whistle, as you said earlier, so it'll be a restart off of the offsides for East Brunswick. Merkel will put the ball down as JP Stevens stands in the middle and congregates. The ball will be sent to the near side for Evan Shotlander. He's going to try switching field, sending it to the middle. A little bit long for Gurriello, possibly looking for Rosendahl on the far side. One bounce, and now Merkel will run it near side. He's going to take it a header off the ground and poke the ball out of bounds. He didn't have many other options. JP Stevens is quickly going to send the ball in and look for an opportunity to get a shot off. A shot from about 20 yards out, that coming off the leg of Abhishek Singh. One bounce into the hands of Kartzman. He'll bounce it a few times, look upfield, and get ready to punt it. We have 6:48 remaining. East Brunswick 3, JP Stevens 1. One bounce under the foot of Gurriello. Stevens will send it up. That time, Mark Shanker will send it to the middle. East Brunswick will run it near side. Longo looking upfield. He's going to try sending it down the touchline a bit short and broken up by Scott Poltrock. Poltrock will send it to the middle. East Brunswick one more time looking for Gurriello up front. And we're going to get a push going against East Brunswick. East Brunswick thinking it was against JP Stevens. That's the way it looked from this angle, although I wouldn't swear to it. Either way, JP Stevens gets the kick, and they're going to send it upfield. We're going to get a trip going the other way now. About 35 yards off the end line, middle of the field. It'll be an East Brunswick restart. Merkel will set the ball down on the football 35-yard line, which is the 45-yard line of this field. 45 yards off of the defensive end line. He'll send the ball straight up the middle. No one around, but Gurriello will take the rebound off the Stevens player. A header. First the kick, then a header. Now we're going to have an elbow going. Someone lifted their elbow up and gave a bit of a push from JP Stevens. East Brunswick quickly will put the ball into play and control for East Brunswick. Mark DeGrandis looks to go into the middle. Can't get any help. It's cleared out by Stevens. For JP Stevens, it's Mark Shanker. Shanker will send it far side touchline for Adam Garsh. Ball's out of bounds. Garsh was going to take the throw, and he leaves off for Devin Grossman. Grossman will run it up a few yards and finally throw the ball in. As the ball is sent out of bounds, it'll be another substitutions for Stevens. For East Brunswick, up off the bench, Brad Caruso warming up, looking to sub in. As you had mentioned, Coach Haston will make some substitutions as we head into the final 5 minutes of this game. Long service into the box off the leg of Merkel. He'll clear it out one more time. Merkel sends it upfield for Gurriello. Gurriello has Longo. If he can send them long, let's see what happens. Ball's a bit short and offsides. Rob Longo had to step on the player.
I don't know if it was offsides. If you're on your side of midfield, technically there is no offside until the ball is played. He was on his side of midfield at the time the ball was first touched, but referee saw it differently.
Tight officiating, as we've indicated all afternoon, and East Brunswick lose another opportunity. Stevens on the attack. Cartsman will come off his line one more time, pull the ball down at the penalty mark, about 12 yards out. Now he's going to come to the near side and roll the ball out to Chad Holcomb. Holcomb looking upfield, going right into the leg of a JP Stevens player. That's Abhishek Singh, who'll cover him tight, and Singh's going to pull this one away, possibly. Don't know what that call was, as there was really no contact on that, but Singh sends the ball quickly in, and Cartsman pulls it away from two JP Stevens players, and now he's going to wait for the box to clear out. He'll throw it far side. East Brunswick will run it one more time as we're under 4 minutes now. Long ball looking for Goriello or Rosenthal. See if he can keep it in, and he can't. Rosenthal running onto that one a little bit late, and the ball's a little bit long, so it'll be a JP Stevens throw-in on the far side touchline. The ball's put into play for Singh. Singh one touches back to Devin Grossman. Grossman will run it up the touchline. Back to Singh, middle of the field. He's looking to switch fields. Puts the ball a little bit too far in front of him. Good anticipation, sending it far side for Goriello. Goriello gets goal side. And we'll see if he can get a shot off. He steps over it and beats himself, drops it off for Rosenthal. Rosenthal from about 18 yards out. Stopped by his own East Brunswick player. Follow-up shot. A bit of chaos up front. Couple of opportunities. No one really getting a shot off on goal as we near the 3:30 mark.
Now that play looked more offside than the one at midfield.
Checking in for East Brunswick, as we had told you, Brad Caruso, who had warmed up on the sideline. He's going to replace Pasha Fairaz. And we're heading into the final moments of the game. The referee stopping the play as he was still making, as there were still substitutions being made. He wasn't satisfied that the subs were off the field yet. So the clock ticks down to the 3-minute mark, and it'll be a goal kick for East Brunswick. 3 minutes on the clock, and that's where it will stop, as the official time, we said once again, is kept on the field. We're under 3 minutes. East Brunswick controlling middle of the field. Michael Poller, JP Stevens, getting a call in their favor, going something against East Brunswick, so Stevens will set the ball up and send it right up the middle. East Brunswick, good anticipation, stepping up. EB will run it back the other way, broken up by Stevens. Scott Poltrock. Poltrock will run it back now. JP Stevens trying to find a through ball, looking near side for Anthony Serro. It'll run into the corner, see if Serro can turn on his player, and he does, but not before the ball rolls out of bounds. It was poked out of bounds by Chad Holcomb. It'll be a corner kick for JP Stevens. Over to take it to Scott Poltrock. As we head into the final, probably 2 minutes remaining. It's a corner kick for Poltrock, and for all practical purposes, it's pretty safe to assume that East Brunswick will pull away with the win on this one. Right now they have a 3-1 edge as we head into the final moments of the game. Long ball into the middle. JP Stevens trying to get a crack on it. A shot, and Cartsman with a big save that time. Pulls the ball down in the corner, and as I was saying, this game, for all intents and purposes, is pretty much in the bag for Coach Haston and the East Brunswick Bears. It'll give East Brunswick an 8-2 record, as JP Stevens will fall to 1-5-2. Pretty soon it's tournament time, as East Brunswick only has a few games remaining in this regular season. When the game wraps up, we'll run those down for you. Rosenthal will run it into the corner, beats his player with a good step move. He's going to try to get a shot off, leaves off for Pollard. Pollard can't get anything on it now. East Brunswick come near side for Longo. Longo beats his man, but a second man will come up and clear it down the near side touchline. East Brunswick with numbers everywhere. Coming up from the back for EB will be Mark DeGrandis. He's going to send a long service into the box. Nothing there. Stevens will clear it out one more time. East Brunswick with a final counterattack, maybe. Stevens will run it the other way, and Merkel will run over into the corner as he controls the backfield one more time for East Brunswick. He really has been the dominant force in the backfield, as he's controlled defense for East Brunswick. In terms of offense this afternoon, it appears as if Rob Longo has all the goals, but Dan Guriello really creating a lot up front. I'd have to tip my hat to him in this afternoon's win for East Brunswick. Merkel one more time will clear the ball out. We're probably under a minute remaining. Final seconds click off in this afternoon's game. JP Stevens will send a long ball. Cartsman will come off his line, and two more players offsides for JP Stevens. They have that time.
No, actually, referee's calling jumping in. I couldn't quite see that.
Steve Fulop blatantly in an offsides position, but I guess the jumping in occurred before the pass was made. Referee a little late with the signal. Needless to say, the ball is still dead time now as the clock continues to roll on, so Stevens really not making the most of this situation. They're taking their time, and they've probably pretty much assumed that this ball game's over for them.
They're trying to save some face if they can get one in.
Good opportunity on an overlap far side, and that will definitely bounce off of the crossbar of the football post, so it'll be a goal kick for East Brunswick as it went over the end line. East Brunswick in no hurry. Ben Cartsman will run it over to the near side and slowly place the ball down for Merkel. Merkel will look upfield, so we roll into the final seconds of the game. Merkel will send the ball down. JP Stevens, good anticipation. He'll send it far side across the field. It'll roll over the touchline and be a throw in for East Brunswick. We're going to have a substitution in the final seconds. Don't know who's checking in for you, as we don't have a number on this one. Possibly someone off of the junior varsity lineup.
Yeah, I think it's number 43, Kurt Eilhart.
So he'll see his first action of the day, and Rosenthal will check out as we head into the final moments. And that will do it for East Brunswick. Here at J. Doyle Field, it's East Brunswick 3, J.P. Stevens 1. East Brunswick will run down the scoring for you. First, before the scoring, the first true action in this game was a yellow card issued against J.P. Stevens at the 22:47 mark in the first half. Mark Shanker was awarded that yellow card. Tim DeSantis put J.P. Stevens on the board first with a 1-0 advantage with 9:25 remaining in the ballgame. Rob Longo responded about a minute later off an assist from Mike Poller, 8:06 remaining in the first half. He tied the game at 1. That's how he headed into the locker room. 1-1 at halftime. Coming back in the second half, Rob Longo put in his second goal of the afternoon at the 35:27 mark remaining in this ballgame to give East Brunswick the 2-1 advantage, and that was the game winner, as they didn't need the third one they got, but bit of an assurance goal, 15:44 remaining. Mark Poller got his first goal of the afternoon to give East Brunswick the 3-1 advantage, and that's where the ball game ends. East Brunswick improves, as we said, to 8-2. J.P. Stevens falls to 1-5-2. From here, East Brunswick continues with their homestand against Old Bridge and Piscataway. Then they head out for a 3-game away road trip to St. Joe's, North Brunswick, and Metuchen. That's where they end their regular season.
Well, now they're starting to come into gear. This is a good test for them. J.P. Stevens, in spite of their record, put forth a good effort today. They never quit when they were behind. And yeah, they've lost a lot of tough ball games. Coach McMullen's got somewhat of a young team he can build upon, but East Brunswick, Coach Hastings got to be happy with the second half the Bears played, and hopefully they can build upon that and carry them towards next week and as they advance into the GMC tournament and the States as well.
Okay, so that will do it right here from J. Doyle Field. Your final score, East Brunswick 3, J.P. Stevens 1. For our technical crew of Dave Ambrosi and Peter Canamassa, and my play-by-play partner, Phil Peterson, I'm Scott White. Thanks for joining us.